Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're just finding me, I'm Anissa, and welcome back if you're part of the Glam Tribe. It's good to hang out with you again. Thanks for hanging with me. Today we're going to dive into the glam world, so grab a drink if you need it. I have a little coffee here to keep me hyped, glass of wine, however you want to do this, and some paper to take some notes because we're going to dive into my updated brush video. I had one like way back when, but right now I'm going to talk about construction of brushes, how to use them and get the most use out of them, and my go-to. So let's get into today's chat right now. So I will also forewarn you that a lot of these are Morphe brushes because I just feel like you get a good bang for your buck. You get what you need out of a brush without going too deep into the trenches when it comes to cost. I do have some more expensive brushes, to be honest, and yes, I love them. Yes, they are amazing, but I am a little bit more on the cost-effective side in the grand scheme of things. Kicking it off, I'm going to talk about the Morphe M441 and M433. These are like my two most used ones. This is actually like my backup duo because I have two of each of these brushes. These are my everyday brushes. They're really great. So the M441 bristles are a little bit longer and a little bit more widely dispersed, whereas the M433 has like shorter bristles and they're a little bit more compact. This one I actually bought when I got introduced into Morphe brushes because it was like a dupe for the MAC. I think it was like 317 brushes. These are the ones that everyone's like, oh, they're kind of like the MAC brushes. And I have a MAC brush, but I also know that I have to replace it one day, and that cost was like a little much. So these two really do a good everyday job. I use them a lot to do like my crease work and overall eyeshadow blending. For instance, this will fit a little bit more detailed into the brow bone little crevice right here, whereas this will be a little bit more fluffy and disperse a little bit more color. So I usually take the M441 above the brow bone, like ever so slightly, just going into the higher points, and the 433 is really getting that crease really nice and defined. Next up is the Morphe E22. I really like this for the outer V. Like, I always end up going with this. This is better if you have a little bit of a larger lid and a little more real estate to play with. I'll show you a smaller version of it, but really like these three kind of help me create any look I nearly want to when it comes to blending and crease definition and outer crease definition. These three are kind of my ride or dies that I can go with and get the look that I want. Now you'll notice the bristles here, it's a little bit more of a domed bullet shape. They're really nice and compact. So what this does for your outer V work is pack in the color, but also give it the blendability that you need to diffuse it into the rest of your eyeshadow look. Now this is a smaller version of this brush. So this is the E17. So if you have a little bit of a smaller lid, this is a great option for you. For me, I like it when I really need to add that extra tinge of dimension on the outer V. So maybe I'll have, like today, I have like two colors on the outer V. The first one I use the E22 to diffuse into the shade, and then the E17 to just tap in a little bit more depth and be able to blend it out nicely. Both of these bristle shapes are the same. They're like that domed bullet-like. As you can see the difference between the two sizes, one, like this one, the E22 is going to diffuse it a lot more, and the E17 is going to be a little bit more tight and precise. The last detail about these two, these are pointed blending brushes, but they're really more for detail specific. The bristles are a little bit more dense, so that is what brings that intensity to packing in the color and concentrating it more on your eyeshadow look. Now the next two brushes you're going to see are a little bit more for your advanced. So if you're really wanting to pack it more detail and have alternatives to blending brushes, these two will be for you. Starting off with, I'm going to go with the Morphe M504 brush. This is another type of pointed blender. However, the bristles are a little bit more loose and not as dense as the E22 and E17. So it's really great for crease work to diffuse it into your eyeshadow look with a little bit more of a lighter application for it. Now next up is the M505. It's just like the little sister to the 504. As you can see, two different sizes. This one's great if you have a little bit of smaller real estate on your lid. It does the same pointed crease work, lightly diffusing in color. So again, the bristles aren't packed tightly. To me, these are like the two cousins to the Morphe M441 and 433. Now these are firm blending brushes, overall blending. You can do your crease work with it. I do it as well. This is just great for quick everyday use. But if you need to step it up a notch and just have a little bit more of an elevated, detailed option, these two are really great. Again, if you have larger real estate like I do, you can just do with the 504. If you want to be able to tightly pack in, pick up the 505, or if you have a smaller lid size, the 505 is for you. Now next up is the Morphe M330. This is like the skinniest blending brush that I own. This is really great if you have a harsh line on your eyeshadow look to go in with it, because you're going to be able to target it directly and diffuse out that line. The brushes are not super densely packed. It's like it's light to medium density, but it's perfect because it's pointed enough. Like I said, you mess up, we've all been there, I've been there. This can go in and be like the little eraser to help ease it all through. Because sometimes if you go back in with a larger brush like one of these and try to fix it, if the colors are too much of a jump, you can end up muddying out your eyeshadow look and ruining it completely. So you do really need a nice small tapered blending brush to go back in and just fix any little boo-boo that you may make. Now the last one for blending I usually exclusively use along my bottom lash line is the NARS 12 brush. I love it. It's like a bullet, fluffy, pointed blender brush. Did I even say that right? Blending brush dream. They do not make this one anymore, so I'll have a dupe for it below, probably from Morphe, because I feel like I had a dupe for this in my last video. But this is really great so you don't have a harsh line whenever you have like your liner happening on your lower lash line along with shadow. This just will help blend it out and make it diffuse like a dream. So now we've gotten all the blending brushes out of the way. I know it's an expansive collection of them, but I just like to have everything on hand to range from eye shape, size needs, or just for me in general working on my own eye. It's just having everything to finesse any detail I need to get the look that I want. So that is why I have so many blending brushes, because they can do a huge either service or disservice to your eyeshadow look. Now moving into flat shadow brushes, these are like what I kind of deem like packing brushes. They're the ones I use mostly on the lid. The one I'm just gonna highlight to you, I have like two others here, but the Morphe M167, I really like it. It can work with a variety of like cream shadows or even your powder shadows, pressed pigments. This one is kind of like my ride or die for it. As you can see, the bristles aren't too long. It's really nice and flat and dense brushes, so it can really give you a nice heavy force of impact of color. In general, if you can't get this one, these are like the characteristics you want to look in for, like a packing brush, flat shadow brush, base shadow brush, however you want to call it. These are other ones I have, like this one's from e.l.f., the same type of deal, and the same thing with this Real Technique one. It's just, again, shorter bristles, a little more dense, a nice little kind of oval shape that conforms to the shape of the lid. Now into detailing brushes. I mostly have a ton of blending brushes and little detailing brushes. We'll get started off with just a liner brush. This one I've had forever, and it's like Revlon, but again, I'll link something similar down below. This is good for whenever you're using cream shadows, or even if you're picking up a dark black eyeshadow, spraying it and making like a line to mimic your liner. This is good for that. Next up is the NARS 15 brush that I've had for eons. It's just a short smudger brush. It has a little bit more of a dome shape, and it kind of blends out those lines that are really nice and detailed and tight, but it doesn't completely diffuse it. It just gives a soft little smudge to it. I also like the Morphe M508 brush to do that. It's a little bit smaller. I really feel like I can get really nice and tight to the waterline with this one and not have the color spread out so much, because these bristles are a lot smaller smaller than this NARS one. One of my favorite detail brushes of all time is the Morphe E36. I use this literally every day, and it's to pop in that inner corner highlight, or if I really want to heighten that brow bone and have that color applied there. It's a super small shaped brush. I promise this is like one of those core ones that you need. So like those blending brushes I talked about earlier, a flat shadow brush, this little guy right here, your liner brush, your smudger brush, these are like ones you definitely need because it's going to help you create nearly any look and not miss out on any detail. So these last three are what I call like little bullet brushes. They all kind of do the same. I just have different ones over the years that I've picked up and tried out. So starting off with the Morphe E321. This one here, it has it as sold out. I'll try to find it for you, but again, I have some other options, so I'll have similar ones down in the description box linked for you too. This is like your bullet brush. You can either make a really good sharp line in your crease, really define the outer V of it if you need to really pack in that color because the bristles are a lot shorter, or what I really like to do is if I want a little bit more of a blown out lower lash line, this brush really does the trick for me. So this can function in a multitude of ways. It's just, again, one of those small bullet detail brushes. It blends out but also packs a good punch because the bristles are short, dense, and a little bit domed bullet shape. Now the other brush I have to do like that kind of bullet blending, detailing, however you want to frame it up, is the Morphe E18. It's a little bit different in shape. It's ever so slightly more domed. The M321 is a little bit more tapered and bullet. This one's a little bit rounder, but really they do the same thing. I just like having the options of like how intense in detail I want my brushes to be, but either of these will do the same job. If you need to do a little bit more detailing on your crease work or your outer V, or again smudging along the lower lash line, these will work fabulously. I actually got them to replace, it was the NARS 14 brush because I've had that forever, but again it's discontinued, and I just wanted to also have like more accessible, affordable options like along the drugstore price point. So these are like the three that I use. Again, I don't think this is still available to NARS one. I find that Morphe has a lot of shapes that mimic NARS brushes, and the quality, do not get me wrong, a NARS brush is amazing. I've had these for over 5 years and they've held me up so well. But again, just to give you different options that are available, a little less impact on your wallet in case you're like me and trying to budget, I got you covered. Any of these will do. Now that we've gotten through all those brushes that I really recommend for eyeshadow ones, we're going to get into brush construction. Now hold on, if you did not take notes about what brushes I just showed you, do not hesitate. Down below in the description box, I have everything there. And also in the comment box, let me know if you have any of these brushes and how you like them. Now jumping into brush construction, you have three main parts as you can see. You have your bristles right here. You have your ferrule here that kind of holds your bristles to the last part, your handle. Now the way you hold your brush is going to dictate how your eyeshadow comes out. Hear me out on this one. These brushes all do a certain job, but the way you hold them will help you either do that job more effectively, it could be more intense or a little less intense. For instance, if you really are trying to have the pressure and have the color more saturated onto the lid, you're going to hold the brush closer on the ferrule, closer to the bristles. So mine is about like literally a finger space away where I will hold it, and sometimes I kind of use like my pinky to help guide me in packing that color. If I want to lightly apply the color, I'm gonna hold it closer to the end of the handle. Usually right here I have the best control of it, or if I'm really doing a quick dusting, I'm holding it at the very end. And it's just like with your writing pencil where you're kind of just gripping it here and holding it between your thumb and your index finger and balancing it with your middle finger and applying your shadow from there. I also have a certain way I like to angle my brushes. I either try to go straight ahead or down. If I'm diffusing color upward, I'm going to tilt it this way, and that way it does spread out the color more. But if I really need the color to be more concentrated, closer to the lash line and onto the main part of the lid, I'm gonna hold it a little bit at a lower angle here. Now, in conclusion, with the right brushes and tools, you can actually nail your eyeshadow looks with ease. Sometimes my frustration when my eyeshadow looks were not going the way I wanted was simply not using the right tool. So how I was speaking earlier, sometimes you can use the wrong blending brush and end up muddying up your look on your shadow. That is exactly why you need different brushes to accomplish your glam. You guys, that wraps up this video. I hope you found it really helpful. If you want like a different video based on all complexion brushes and tools, I can totally make that for you. I have a lot of brushes, so we can talk brushes for days, but I wanted to keep this one nice and concise about eyeshadow, and I hope that makes it easy for you to accomplish your glam going forward. If you have questions or you want to say hey, by all means get into the comment box below and let me know which part of this video you found more helpful. It will help me make better videos to help you. And I hope you enjoyed this video and already hit subscribe. Please, I'm gonna pop it on the screen in another video so you can hang out with me a little bit more. And until next time, you guys, take care, stay blessed, stay happy, stay glamorous, and I'll hang out with you very soon. Bye.